Hey guys, I'm going to demonstrate how to transfer your logos onto the linoleum tile. So this is my yellow tile example. You can see that I have my cut linoleum tile underneath of my logo. The logo should fit exactly on that linoleum tile. And I have gone ahead and pre-cut a piece of our transfer paper just a little bit bigger than the linoleum tile. The paper is much darker on one side than the other, and the dark side is the one that you want face down on your linoleum tile. So I'm going to go ahead and cover my linoleum tile with the dark side down, and then place the logo on top of this sandwich. I am going to use my fingers just to make sure that it's perfectly fitting on each edge and corner, because the paper logo should be the exact same size as your linoleum tile. And then I'm going to hold that down in place, take a few pieces of tape, and just make sure it stays nice and still for me as I am tracing my yellow parts. I'm going to take a ballpoint pen and start outlining the yellow areas. So I'm using a fair amount of pressure here, kind of going back and forth to make sure every spot was hit pretty well. I don't want to tear my piece of paper apart, but if you kind of go through the paper just a little bit as you're pressing down with your pen, that's okay. We just want to make sure it stays intact until you're entirely done tracing each individual piece. Now before I go too far, I'm going to peek at what I've done and just make sure I'm using enough pressure that it's showing up. You can see a little bit of a faint curved line there. When I'm all done, I'm going to go back over that with ballpoint pen so my transferred lines are a little bit more permanent. So for this demonstration, I'm just going to outline the parts of the helmet. But if this was my final piece, I would want to make sure that I also outline my yellow letters before I pick up my transfer paper. It's a little harder to realign it if you have to stop halfway through. So the goal is to get an entire tile transferred in one sitting. So if you get one done and then you don't feel like you have enough time to start and finish a second one, I would suggest holding off and starting on that one the next day. So everywhere that the yellow is interacting with the gray, I am outlining those edges. So I have the detail of the helmet where the yellow is showing through. Okay, so I believe I have all of that done. Before I'm done with the helmet, I also need to outline this inner oval. Again, if this was my final, I would also want to make sure that I do all of the yellow parts. So I would do the word as well. But for this demonstration, I'm just doing the helmet part, so you can see a little bit better than the other day what we're doing here. And then I'm going to take the ballpoint pen and just carefully go over those transfer lines so that that graphite transfer material does not wipe away when I stack my tiles and put them away in my cubby every day. So I know that sometimes the pen feels like it's dried up and it's not working. If you just kind of go back and forth with it a little bit, it'll come back. These tiles just tend to dry it out a little bit sometimes. And if there's little parts that you can't really see, you can refer to your photocopy and make sure that you're getting all of those shapes transferred accurately. So before you can do this, you need to make sure that your logos are all colored. You need to make sure that your 3 tiles are cut exactly to size. And hopefully with this video, you understand a little bit more of what I was doing the other day. Again, if this was my final, I would also be outlining my letters right now. But now I will know what areas to carve away next week and what areas are yellow that need to be left alone. I hope that that was helpful for you guys, and of course I'm here to help as needed.